Hello, I'm Marlene Engelhorn. I have inherited a multi-million euro fortune and I want to be taxed, so I co-founded Tax Me Now, an initiative of wealthy people to fight for tax justice. And because I wasn't, I redistributed almost all of my wealth through a citizens' assembly. Tax justice mainly recognizes that in order to have an economy and a political system that work well, we have to tackle distribution of wealth and power. We already tackle distribution of income rather well in Austria. It's debatable, but at least some job has been done. But wealth and power have to be distributed democratically, and taxes are a very, very easy tool, a democratic tool, a public tool to distribute wealth and regulate flows of wealth. And so it's inherently a public measure, and you can't advocate for tax justice without being public. And so I wanted to use my name, my face, and my whole story in order to give the advocacy work that I do more body and more authenticity, because everybody has a skin in the game. I might as well show mine. We need a wealth tax, progressive wealth tax. So you start at a certain amount, at a certain threshold that has to be discussed. Usually models go with 1 million in net wealth, but it's debatable. It's a democratic process, right? And then you steepen that curve of taxation with the amount of wealth that a person holds. You need an inheritance tax. Both of these taxes we don't have in Austria, and that levels the playing field for people who then cannot be just born into the perfect job and position and full ownership of, let's say, a company, but actually have to work and be part of the society that they want to mingle with and redistribute through paying their inheritance tax, which is a source tax, at least that's how you call it in German, meaning when you get your inheritance and you're taxed, you always get a net plus out of it. You can't lose money. And it's a contribution to all of the infrastructure that you need in order to also build your business and be successful economically, but also to have political leveling, because when wealth accumulates and concentrates with a tiny group of people, this threatens democracy. So these two measures are keys and are important, but there are many, many more, especially about like excessive gains during the current crises, also what the banks have got in terms of gains, like you can tax all of that. But regarding details, you'd have to ask a researcher and not just a rich kid like me. Der Gute Rat für Rückverteilung, Good Counsel for Redistribution, if you will, is a citizen assembly, and I initiated it. And I paid for all of the expenses and gave a budget. That's all I did. The rest was really the tremendous work of an organizational team and a facilitation team, and obviously the citizens who took part in the assembly. So basically, every information is on guterrat.info. Feel free to check it out, but briefly, 50 people who were first randomly chosen out of 10,000 random addresses and then selectively put together to represent Austria went to discussed during 6 weekends between March and June how to deal with wealth inequality. What does it mean? What does justice mean? How do we use 25 million budget in order to redistribute so that we can get closer to this vision of a just world, right? And they distributed it to 77 organizations. I took myself out of this process and didn't mingle with anything and mess with it, because I wanted to acknowledge that if you put wealth back into hands of society, and they were representative of the society in Austria, they really know where to put it. They have a very good idea of what to do with money, and turns out that they made very, very interesting and very, very clear choices about what priorities there should be, also politically in Austria. I cannot give any advice in terms of academia, because everybody here outranks me. I would say I don't have a degree. So I would rather learn from them. In terms of activism also, I suppose that there are not few of them who might already be involved. And if you're not, get involved. I don't want to push this agenda of we have to do it now or else time runs out. And this stress doesn't really get us anywhere. You can't clear your head with that. You can't be strategic. Systems change takes time, but it also takes people. So also the little steps make a difference. And I'm not talking about buying fair trade bananas. I'm talking about maybe joining an initiative or an NGO that's already working towards justice. And it doesn't matter whether this is anti-racism work or feminist work or anti-ableist work or tax justice work or social justice work more broadly, or whatever kind of justice work. They all are a part of a more broader picture of changing our system and become a society that is much more democratic and more equitable. And so it's okay to be anxious. The first step's never easy, but just don't do it alone, and be okay with trial and error, and you will do good and you will do well.